that basically has been driving the leaders of our nation state since the original encounter, both to develop the weapon to vanquish the Soviet Union and to assert our hegemony over the entire world, but also to try to develop some type of a weapon system to be able to challenge the actual extraterrestrial civilization itself. And this constitutes the greatest single threat to our entire future, to have people of this particular mindset governing our policies so that they are planning to try to vanquish this extraterrestrial civilization, to shoot down their vehicles, to establish a dialectical, warlike dynamic with them, to carry this primitive worldview out into the stars. And that is the worldview that will not be allowed off the planet. That worldview cannot be exported into the stars. And I believe that the extraterrestrial civilization, whatever its particular configuration, whether there is in fact a galactic confederation or whether there's some loose association of the different planetary systems that these people come from, that they realize what a terrible threat our species represents in our presently comparatively unevolved state. And so therefore there has been this entire deterrent to our being able to really travel to the stars. It's why I believe it's taken us so long to move from, putting people on the moon to all of a sudden stopping putting people on the moon, to not in fact really going forward with the space platform at an adequate rate, of not really placing people on Mars. That what's happened here is I believe that there is a communication that is coming to us from the people of the extraterrestrial civilization, holding us back from this step out into space, and at the same time attempting to facilitate our evolution in a positive, constructive way without over-interfering in our normal biological processes. So I believe that that's the nature of the, in a sense, two-sided conspiracy. There's a conspiracy on the part of the leaders of our military-industrial complex to continue to try to capture the technology and to establish a weapons set of systems for hegemony on our planet and to be able to militarily defeat the extraterrestrial people. And there's a conspiracy, in a sense, on the part of the extraterrestrials to keep us confined to our planetary system, at least, allowing us to evolve in a more constructive way. So that I believe that one of the most important things that we can do, what I was doing with Dr. Mack when John was unfortunately killed, we were attempting to actually train contactees because we discovered through John's work and others' work that, as you know, you've discovered that when a person has a contact like this, where they are actually taken aboard a vehicle, it turns out that that's not the first time that it's happened to them, that it's part of a pattern that's happened to them. And John relates that in his books, that we discovered that to be true. So we knew that the people who had experienced a number of different contacts were going to have future contacts. And so what we were doing is attempting to train the people to engage in holotropic breathing, the breathing that John was using. It's not hypnosis. It's just a manner of calming one's whole system down. And that we were attempting to get people to be trained that when they knew this was getting ready to happen again, because as you know, people can tell when it's getting ready to happen again. They start to get that feeling. There's this whole kind of ionizing field that comes around them, and that they know it's happening. And if they start to do the holotropic breathing that Stanislav Grof developed, they can calm themselves, and instead of panicking when the beings appear, one can just say, okay, I'm fine, stay calm here. Because the reason that they freeze people, the reason that they paralyze people, is because they're afraid of us. Because when we get panicked, we get very violent, and we're big and strong. And so that they have to do that for their own protection. But once they realize that people are in a state of calm and are open to have communications with them, people can talk with them. and say, look, let's have an intelligent conversation here. What can I do? What can we? So we were attempting to kind of open diplomatic communications with them directly, which is, of course, in fact, how we did it with the Soviet Union. That a very dear friend of mine, Dr. James Garrison, the different Jim Garrison, was the head of the Gorbachev Foundation, and he was on my staff when I was general counsel for the United States Jesuit headquarters. Jim Garrison was my staff person on the nuclear weapons disarmament issue. And we sent him to the Soviet Union. That's how he met Gorbachev. And that's the conversations he had with Gorbachev about having to eliminate the nuclear weapons. And it was part of the consideration that Gorbachev engaged in deciding that he was going to shut down the Soviet Union as a major threat to the world. And that because of this, we know that there is a process by means of which you can open diplomatic channels directly to potential adversaries. And so we began a thing of citizen diplomacy, going back and forth to the Soviet Union, getting to meet scientists, getting to meet politicians, getting to meet business people, etc. And we opened up that line of communications to the Soviet Union that actually freed up Gorbachev and other people that were working with him to open on to normalizing relations with the West. And so that's the plan that I'm part of, is trying to open direct communications with the people from the extraterrestrial civilization, to establish dialogue with them, to have them be able to understand, as they do, that not all people on our planet are adherents to the second paradigm, militarist, dialectical, confrontational, warlike worldview. That we have people in all the different paradigms. And that what we're in is that I think that the paradigm that we need to look to for the immediate future is what I call the sixth paradigm worldview, this new worldview of quantum physics that is opening to us. William Teller has written about this, the beginning of a new worldview. I think, in fact, I saw some copies of his book out there where they're actually talking about trying to integrate in the discoveries that were made between 1923 and 1926 in the field of quantum physics into our worldview, to actually modify our Cartesian Newtonian worldview with the insights of the new worldview, and that I believe that this is the next step that we can take clearly. And I think that it will become the worldview that is characteristic of virtually all of the people that are in what is called the UFO community. Those of us that are in this worldview, I think, need to understand what the full template really is. So I would suggest that you look into the sixth paradigm worldview of quantum physics, and understand that at the base of every worldview is a certain set of assumptions about physics and about their cosmology. The cosmology, as I said, there's the oscillating universe, there's the ultimately expanding universe, there's the stable universe, but it has to do with understanding what the laws of physics are that are functioning, and what the relationship is between the laws of physics and our biological evolution. Because there's obviously something going on. I mean, obviously, the eyeball did not evolve just at random. Thinking, people have made some references before, but, thinking that the eyeball just happened as a result of a bunch of random mutations is like thinking that you can take, a full warehouse that's got all of the subcomponent elements of a 747, and you hit it with an infinite number of tornadoes, and one of them is going to build a 747.